I've spoken on the YouTube channel a number of times about Mafia and the future of this franchise, guys, and why I believe Mafia needs a continuation in the future. And so in this last segment of the show, I want to talk about why Mafia 4 should exist amongst the rest of gaming. So let's talk about it. So guys, I obviously want to get all of your guys' opinions about this in the comment section below regarding Mafia 4. Something obviously unconfirmed, unannounced at this point. But why Mafia 4 should exist in gaming as a whole. Number one, all in all, guys, Mafia, I've said this on a number of occasions, that Mafia, those experiences, in my opinion, have been better than the Grand Theft Auto experiences, in my personal opinion. I've just really enjoyed playing Mafia in a major way. I just always loved the story. I thought the story was so incredible. The one thing that it didn't have on Grand Theft Auto was, of course, a multiplayer experience and having, really, significant co-op experiences and such. And so Mafia 4 could turn the tide there. It could definitely change things in a way where it's not just a single-player story. It's now a multiplayer experience. It's now a co-op experience. Having something like Mafia Online, kind of like GTA Online, where you build an empire, I think would be something really special for Mafia 4. They could try some new things, and they could continue that story. Now, there was rumor that Mafia 4 is set in Las Vegas, which I think would be an absolutely incredible place to have a Mafia game, right? And so, will they end up doing that? We'll have to kind of wait and see. But this is definitely a game that I believe needs to continue. It needs to exist in gaming. Have a full-blown open world experience, similar to that of like Grand Theft Auto and games of that nature. Mafia had such a great story, in my opinion. I always thought it was a better story than that of like Grand Theft Auto. Even though Grand Theft Auto has had some incredible stories, I just think that Mafia is always kind of something that's almost in the shadows to people, because you always think of Grand Theft Auto when you think of like, these types of games, and, when it comes to like open world experiences and the, all the, GTA Online, and it just, there's so much glitz and glamour to Grand Theft Auto, whereas Mafia is this much smaller game that could be up there with games like Grand Theft Auto, in my personal opinion. So what could Mafia 4 do? Like I said, a full fleshed out multiplayer experience, I think, is number one. Because here's the thing, guys. At the end of the day, I got some backlash from some fans of Mafia and the franchise saying, we don't need a multiplayer experience. We just want a great story. Look, guys, what it comes down to is you might say that now, but you're going to want reasons to come back to the franchise, reasons to come back to Mafia 4. And what's that going to look like? Well, DLC is going to come out every once in a while. Let's be real. Maybe once a year, or, if you're lucky, a couple of times a year if it's supported fully. But at the end of the day, multiplayer is going to bring you back consistently. It could bring you back every single day if it's a good multiplayer experience. It could even be a cookie cutter experience, right? It doesn't have a lot of game modes, but it's a multiplayer experience. PvP, PvE, building empires and things of that nature could significantly bring that player base up, and it could continue building upon what they started with the first 3 Mafia games. And look, we all want a great story, but after that 6-hour, 10-hour, even 20-hour story is done, you might not come back to it again. You might just move on to another game. Don't you want your this franchise and one of your favorite games, if it is one of your favorite games, don't you want to see it continue to grow so they continue making continuations of the franchise? I know I certainly do. So ways that you do that is a multiplayer experience. And I talk about this at nauseum on this YouTube channel. Major AAA titles need to have a full package. They need to have a single player experience, a multiplayer experience, and even co-op experiences to bring players back to the game. Because here's what it comes down to. For me with Mafia, the first 3 games, guys, what I would end up doing is I would go through the single player story, I would beat it, and then I would go through it again, I would play it a second time, and that second time through I would do all the side missions, and I would play it on a harder difficulty. But after that second playthrough, I moved on to other games because there's nothing else to come back to other than if they bring out DLC, which they did in the 3rd game. Of course, they brought out some DLC, and that was awesome. But it's just the simple fact of the matter is that it brings, you have a bigger following and more people that are playing the game, more people would be streaming the game on places like Twitch. It helps build the franchise. And so I believe that that's kind of number one. Number two, guys, of course, obviously having a great story, but having an open world experience is very important. Having it in Las Vegas, I think, would be the best location, in my opinion, for Mafia 4. I think it would be an incredible location for the game. And the question is are they trying to continue off of Mafia 3, or are they trying to go back further in time? It's hard to say. There's been a lot of speculation as to where the time period is here. But I would even like, guys, them to make a Mafia game that was like present day or even a little bit futuristic. I think that would be interesting. Something that's more recent. So I'm not saying that it should be Mafia 4, maybe Mafia 5, or one of the continuations. It'd be interesting to see present day Mafia or future Mafia. I think it would be very interesting. I know that obviously the Mafia was at its peak back, 20s, to the 60s essentially, but it would be interesting because I think, with video games, the beauty of video games is that you can like really open up your imagination to many different things, whether that's fictitious or reality. And so something like that I think would be really interesting. I think a lot of people would kind of gravitate to that as well if it were more of like a present day or even slightly futuristic. Nonetheless, though, Mafia 4 deserves to exist. It should exist in all of gaming, but I think the way that it really pushes itself forward is having other experiences other than just a single player experience. And that's my opinion, guys. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section below. What do you guys want to see out of Mafia 4? Do you guys just want a single player experience, or do you want a full package? Because I'll tell you what, if I'm going to pay $60 for a game at, brand new, right when it comes out, I want more ways than one to kind of connect with this franchise and hopefully build the franchise over time. But let me know what you guys think about that in the comment section below. And for more Mafia 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV.